Homework 1.6, other types of equations, video 8. Homework's due on Saturday, May 16th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Before we wrap up this video and this series of videos for this homework, I want to point out something that I neglected to mention in the last video, that after the absolute value equation videos, you should try homework 1.6, questions 13, 14, 15, and 16. I believe there are 2 more questions after those, 17 and 18, but I'm not going to show you examples of everything. Most of them are word problems or extension problems. I expect you to try them. Click view an example if you get stuck, and of course contact me if you need some assistance. Well, let's wrap up this series of videos and this discussion about absolute value equations by looking at 2 similar but subtly different problems, one of which has no solutions. Do you think you know which one has no solution? And why would it have no solution? Excuse me. Well, let's start solving and see what happens. Let's solve the first one. Solve the absolute value 5x plus 1 and then plus 2 is equal to 9. Do not combine the 1 and the 2. 1's inside the absolute value, 2 isn't. They cannot combine. But like a lot of equation solving strategies, your first move is to isolate something. So we need to isolate the absolute value. Think about this absolute value being trapped in a force field, and you got to get rid of any number outside of that, which in this case is the 2. How do you get rid of a plus 2? Minus 2. But if you do it on the left, do it on the right. 2's cancel. We're left with the absolute value of 5x plus 1 on the left. On the right side, we're equal to 7. Hey, it's 7 again. Didn't mean for that to happen, but that's okay. So all this means is that 5x plus 1 is either 7 spaces to the left of 0 or 7 spaces to the right. So 5x plus 1 is either equal to 7 or it's equal to negative 7. Or, as this says, rewrite the equation as inside equals the number and inside equals the negative number. Frankly, I think the picture of being 7 spaces from 0 makes a lot more sense. These words I understand, but this picture I can see. So this guy to the right of 0 has to equal 7. And this guy to the left of 0 would have to be negative 7. I'm not going to dilly-dally solving these. Subtract 1 from both sides, that'll make this a 6, and then divide by 5. Now, if you need to write all the steps, you do that. Because on your test, because even though your test is online, you will be working problems on paper and sending me images of your pictures. No images, no credit. On your test, you should fill in all the steps. So maybe I should have, I'll do it over here. Subtract 1 from both sides. Better be careful, my 7's negative sign almost got consumed by the equal. Very easy to overlook. Negative 7 and negative 1 is negative 8. And then of course divide by 5. And we get x equals negative 8 fifths, along with x equals positive 6 fifths. Well, since I told you one of them has no solution, and it's not this one, I guess it's the other one. But why does the other one have no solution? It's not much different from the first one. A couple of numbers are transposed, but what harm could that do? Well, let's see what happens if we do the first move. What would the first move be on both sides of this equation? Well, to isolate the absolute value, you would have to get rid of the 9, and since it's added, you would subtract. Now we get the absolute value of 5x plus 1 on the left, and 2 minus 9 is negative 7 on the right. You see the problem now? What does absolute value measure? Distance from 0, and more specifically, distance. Distance is a positive measurement. Absolute value is a distance measurement. Therefore, absolute value must never be negative. The caveat, and I'm going to amend this list of steps over here. By going to the first step, isolate the absolute value equation until the equation reads absolute value of something on the inside equals a number. I'm going to put an asterisk on the number, and here's the asterisk. If the number is negative, comma, there is no solution. Stop. The problem is over. Because this number is negative, there is no solution. Now, what would happen if you didn't stop? you would get extraneous solutions, because the next step says, put this equal to that, and put this equal to the negative of that. Well, if I put 5x plus 1 equal to negative 7, it's that. And if I put 5x plus 1 equal to the negative of this, the negative of negative 7 is positive 7, I would get that, and I would get these two solutions. Would either one work? Nope. Take the 6/5, stick it here. Oh no, I gotta multiply. Well, guess what? 5 times 6/5 is easy, because a fraction is a division problem. Multiplying by and dividing by 5 are opposites, and those cancel. So if I put 6/5 there, I would get 6 plus 1, the absolute value of, 6 plus 1 is 7, and the absolute value of 7 is 7, but 7 plus 9 is not equal to 2. So, to wrap up this section, solving absolute value equations is actually pretty easy on the surface. You isolate the absolute value. As long as this number isn't negative, put it equal to that number and its opposite, and then subtract. But if you run into an absolute value equal to a negative, if you run into an absolute value equal to a negative, shut it down, problem's over, no solution. Now if this is 0, keep going, because you will get, well, you'll actually only get one solution, because 0 and negative 0 are the same number. All right, so go into homework 1.6 and try questions 13, 14, 15, and 16. At this point, we only have one more homework assignment to cover before your first test. Homework 1.7, which is already in My Labs and Mastering. The videos won't be ready until Tuesday. And you may be watching this on Tuesday, so maybe they're already there. But right now it's Monday, it is 4:50 p.m. I've been up here since about 8 a.m. Took a little bit of time off for lunch, but I'm gonna try to get about a day and a half ahead each day and have the entire semester's worth of videos done by the beginning of next week. I'm shooting for the end of this first week. But homework 1.7 will be the final homework that's covered on your first test. Your first test will become available on Thursday, the 14th, and it will also be due at midnight on Saturday. Watch Canvas, watch for announcements, and I'll have all the details there. And please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.